Ladies and gentlemen, let's be honest. Some people drift through our lives like a gentle breeze, only to leave behind the wreckage of a storm. Avoidants are masters at this, careful, calculated, emotionally distant, and sometimes unknowingly destructive. They build walls around themselves, not out of malice, but because intimacy terrifies them. And while they dance around the truth, someone like you opens your heart, invests deeply, and suddenly pain, heartbreak, confusion, silence. But here's the thing, there comes a moment, an unmistakable breaking point, when they finally see the aftermath of their choices. When the walls they built so carefully start to crumble under the weight of the emptiness they left behind. They realize maybe too late that the person they pushed away, the person they couldn't hold close, was irreplaceable. And in that moment, your heartbreak isn't just a memory. It's a mirror reflecting what they've lost. This isn't about revenge. It's about recognition. The avoidant may never apologize properly. They may never fully admit the depth of their mistakes. But the power in your journey comes from understanding one simple truth. Your love was real. Your heart was full. And no matter how far they ran, they can't erase the impact you had, the love you gave, or the person you've become because of it. Your healing becomes their revelation. Your growth becomes undeniable proof that their fear of intimacy cost them more than they ever imagined. And that, my friends, is a moment of quiet but undeniable triumph. Not because you wanted them to suffer, but because you finally see your worth and they finally see the heart they once had the chance to cherish and didn't. You see, heartbreak isn't just a story of loss. It's a story of awakening. For you, it's growth, clarity, and freedom. For them, it's a painful confrontation with reality. And when they realize what they destroyed, they may feel regret, but you will already be light years ahead, carrying the lessons, strength, and love that can never be taken away. Avoidants are often misunderstood. On the surface, it may seem like they don't care, like they are cold or indifferent, but the truth is far more complicated. Their emotional distance is not a reflection of your worth or their lack of love. It's a reflection of their own fear. Intimacy terrifies them, not because they cannot love, but because being close means exposing vulnerabilities they have spent years protecting. When you offer them your heart fully, when you open yourself and show your deepest emotions, it can feel overwhelming to them. They are not equipped to respond in the same way, not because they don't feel, but because they are conditioned to avoid the very thing you are offering, a deep, unguarded connection. This is why so often in relationships with avoidance, you feel like you are chasing someone who is always one step ahead, someone who retreats just as you lean in, someone who disappears when things get real. It's not about you failing or not being enough. It's about their inability to sit with the intensity of closeness. Their avoidance manifests in subtle ways, canceling plans last minute, withdrawing from emotional conversations, or creating distance when things start to feel serious. You might feel confused, frustrated, and even guilty, questioning if you did something wrong or if your love was somehow too much. But the reality is that avoidants are often trapped by their own inner defenses. They have learned, consciously or unconsciously, that opening up leads to pain, and so they build walls to protect themselves. These walls can be mistaken for apathy, but in reality, they are a shield against the very emotions they secretly crave but cannot tolerate. When you understand this, it shifts your perspective. It becomes clear that their behavior is not a reflection of your worth, but a reflection of their limitations. They have the capacity to love, but they have not yet learned how to fully handle the vulnerability that love demands. And while this doesn't excuse the hurt they cause, it explains it in a way that removes self-blame. The heartbreak you feel is not because you loved too much or expected too much. It's because someone who is afraid of intimacy could not meet you at the depth you offered. Recognizing this dynamic also empowers you. When you see that avoidants fear intimacy more than they fear loss, you stop wasting energy trying to force them to change or meet your emotional needs. You begin to focus on yourself, your growth, and your healing. You see that your heart was not broken because you were too much. It was broken because the person you gave it to was not ready to receive it. Understanding this truth gives you clarity. It gives you freedom from confusion and guilt, and it allows you to honor your own capacity to love without compromising your worth. By realizing that avoidants fear intimacy, you also begin to notice patterns, learn lessons, and protect yourself from unnecessary pain in the future. Your love is a gift, and not everyone can receive it. Knowing this truth allows you to stop chasing what cannot be held and start investing in connections where your heart is met with equal courage, presence, and depth. In the end, the fear of intimacy is their challenge, not yours. And understanding this is the first step in reclaiming your power and your peace. Every relationship has a moment when the truth becomes undeniable. And with avoidance, that moment is often referred to as the breaking point. For them, it doesn't arrive in the middle of intimacy or during the early excitement of connection. It comes later, often after the distance has created a chasm that cannot be ignored, when the reality of what they've lost finally hits them. Avoidants are experts at compartmentalizing their emotions, at rationalizing their choices, and at convincing themselves that their distance is necessary or even justified. They can go through long periods of avoidance without facing the emotional consequences of their actions. But eventually, the walls they have built around themselves begin to crack, and what they have ignored for so long can no longer be hidden from view. This breaking point is not dramatic in the way we often imagine. It doesn't always involve grand gestures or confessions. More often, it is quiet, subtle, and deeply internal, a realization that seeps in like water through a crack. They start to feel the absence of the love they took for granted, the support they pushed away, and the trust they ignored. They realize, sometimes too late, that the person they treated with distance and caution was someone irreplaceable. At this point, they are confronted with the weight of their choices. Avoidants may struggle with guilt, frustration, or even anger, not necessarily at themselves, but at the situation. They see clearly for the first time how their fear of intimacy caused pain, how their avoidance created emptiness, and how the connection they once had was fragile, not because of lack of love, but because of their inability to engage fully. The breaking point is a moment of clarity. They begin to understand that every withdrawal, every excuse, and every wall they built contributed to a tangible loss, the loss of someone who loved them wholly and without reservation. It is a confrontation with reality that they cannot escape, no matter how much they try to protect themselves with emotional distance. This moment of reckoning also reveals the profound contrast between what they feared and what they lost. While they avoided vulnerability because it felt unsafe, the cost of that avoidance is the very connection they secretly desired. They recognize, often with a sharp pang of regret, that the love they were offered was genuine and deep, and that no one else can replace the bond that was broken. It is at this breaking point that avoidants often see the long-term consequences of their behavior: loneliness, missed opportunities, and the realization that fear of closeness does not erase the human need for connection. Understanding this breaking point is important for you as well. It highlights a fundamental truth. Their recognition of loss does not erase the hurt they caused, nor does it automatically mean reconciliation. The breaking point is significant because it validates your experience. It proves that your love mattered, that your heart was not insignificant, and that the emotional distance they maintained was a choice, not a reflection of your inadequacy. When they finally confront the consequences of their actions, it is a testament to your authenticity, your presence, and your willingness to love fully. In essence, the breaking point is their awakening, but it is also your confirmation that the love you gave was real, impactful, and powerful beyond their avoidance. When someone avoids intimacy, it's easy to feel like the love you gave went unnoticed, unappreciated, or even wasted. But the truth is, the heart you shared cannot be replaced, and the impact you made is indelible. Your love is unique because it was wholehearted, fearless, and willing to step into the emotional territory that the avoidant could not navigate. They may never fully articulate or even admit the depth of what you gave them, but that doesn't diminish its power. Every moment of patience, every act of vulnerability, and every expression of care created a connection that was real and meaningful. It's not about being dramatic or seeking validation. It's about acknowledging that your heart was genuine, that your presence mattered, and that the love you offered was extraordinary in its authenticity. Avoidants often struggle to recognize this in the moment. Their focus tends to be on self-protection, on minimizing discomfort, and on avoiding the overwhelming intensity of closeness. In their eyes, they may appear indifferent, detached, or unconcerned, but this is a misrepresentation of the reality of your impact. What they fail to see in the midst of their fear is that your love was not only sincere, but transformative. It shaped moments, influenced decisions, and created emotional imprints that remain long after they physically or emotionally withdrew. Your presence, your willingness to show up fully, is something they cannot simply erase or replace. It is permanent, in ways they may not yet understand or be able to admit. This is why the realization of what they lost is so profound for them. The avoidant eventually begins to confront the fact that the love they avoided was rare and irreplaceable. They start to see that the person they pushed away possessed a capacity for emotional depth, patience, and commitment that is not easily found elsewhere. This is not about punishing them or proving a point. It is about recognizing the inherent value of your love and understanding that it mattered deeply and undeniably. While they may never articulate it, their awareness of your irreplaceability becomes a quiet acknowledgement of your significance. Your heart, once open and giving, is a testament to your strength and resilience. It demonstrates that love is not about control or fear. It is about courage, presence, and vulnerability. The avoidant's inability to reciprocate fully is a reflection of their own limitations, not a reflection of the worth of your love. By recognizing that your love was irreplaceable, you reclaim your power and reinforce your self-respect. You begin to understand that the emotional investment you made was never a mistake, even if it was met with distance or hesitation. Your heart was never wasted. It was a gift, a standard of love that cannot be replicated or diminished. The knowledge that your love is irreplaceable allows you to step into your life with confidence, clarity, and freedom. You no longer seek validation from someone who could not fully embrace your depth. Instead, you carry the truth that your heart was real, your love was extraordinary, and your presence left a lasting mark. In recognizing your own value, you no longer measure yourself by their avoidance, but by the unwavering authenticity of the love you offered. Your heart's impact endures, not as a reflection of their regret, but as a reflection of your capacity to give, to feel, and to love fully without compromise. Healing is not a passive process. It is an act of reclaiming your power, your identity, and your self-worth. When you've loved someone who is avoidant, you may have felt small, uncertain, or even invisible at times. Their distance can make you question yourself, your choices, and even your ability to love. But here's the truth. Your healing is your power. It is the undeniable proof that you are capable of growth, resilience, and emotional strength, even when faced with someone who could not meet you fully. Every step you take toward understanding yourself, setting boundaries, and nurturing your own well-being is a step away from avoidance and a step toward reclaiming the life you deserve. Avoidants often struggle to witness someone move forward without them. The very act of healing, of prioritizing your own growth and happiness, becomes a silent but powerful statement. You are no longer waiting for them to realize your worth, to come back, or to change. Instead, you are actively choosing yourself, your needs, and your future. This can be disorienting for the avoidant because it challenges the narrative they created, the belief that they can control the pace, the connection, or the emotional investment in the relationship. When you embrace healing, you demonstrate that love cannot be forced and that your value is not dependent on their recognition or approval. Healing transforms pain into clarity. It allows you to see patterns, understand behaviors, and recognize the limitations of someone who could not fully engage emotionally. It teaches you the difference between love that nourishes and love that depletes. And most importantly, it shows you that your worth is inherent. It is not contingent on being chosen by someone who is afraid of closeness. Your growth becomes a reflection of your inner strength, a testament to your ability to rise above hurt, disappointment, and emotional neglect. It is a process that requires courage, patience, and self-compassion, but the reward is immeasurable. You emerge with a deeper understanding of yourself, a clearer sense of boundaries, and a stronger capacity to love wisely and authentically in the future. The avoidant may eventually notice the changes in you. The confidence, the self-respect, the unshakable sense of identity that your healing has cultivated. This recognition, however, comes too late if they have ignored or resisted closeness for too long. But their realization does not diminish your progress. It merely reinforces the fact that you'll grow. And self-care are independent of their actions. You are not waiting for external validation. You are creating your own life filled with emotional freedom, clarity, and self-assurance. Ultimately, healing is not about erasing the past or forgetting the pain. It is about reclaiming your narrative. It is about transforming heartbreak into empowerment and loss into self-discovery. When you heal, you are no longer defined by their avoidance, by their inability to connect, or by the distance they maintained. You are defined by your courage, your resilience, and your unwavering commitment to yourself. Your healing is your power, your victory, and your most profound statement that no one, not even an avoidant, can diminish the value of your heart, your love, or your worth. Heartbreak is never easy, and when it comes from someone avoidant, it can feel confusing, disorienting, and deeply personal. You may have given your all, only to be met with distance, withdrawal, or emotional unavailability. The pain feels sharp because it is the collision of love and absence, the undeniable truth that someone who mattered deeply could not fully be present. But heartbreak, as devastating as it can be, is also a powerful teacher. It becomes an awakening, not only for you, but often, indirectly, for the avoidant as well. What you experience as pain is a process of clarity, self-discovery, and liberation. It is the moment when you begin to see the truth of your value, the truth of your strength, and the truth that your love was never the problem. The avoidant, meanwhile, is confronted with their own limitations. They may not articulate it, and they may never fully express the depth of their regret, but heartbreak leaves its mark on them as well. When they see the person they once had and now have lost, they are forced to reckon with the consequences of their choices. They witness the impact of their avoidance, the absence, the missed opportunities, and the love that could have been fully embraced but was instead pushed away. This awakening, while often silent, is undeniable. The person they lost was someone extraordinary, someone who loved without condition, someone whose presence cannot be replicated. Heartbreak thus serves as a mirror, reflecting both your growth and their loss. For you, heartbreak is transformative. It strips away illusions, exposes truths, and forces you to confront your own boundaries and emotional needs. It teaches you that your heart is precious and that your love deserves to be met with equal courage, presence, and authenticity. Every tear, every moment of grief, every pang of longing is a step toward reclaiming yourself. You learn that love is not measured by endurance or tolerance of distance, but by mutual engagement and emotional reciprocity. Your heartbreak is not a sign of weakness. It is proof of your capacity to feel deeply, to care passionately, and to invest fully in someone who truly deserves it. The lessons of heartbreak also bring freedom. Once you recognize that your love cannot be forced or controlled, you gain clarity about the kinds of connections that honor your heart. You no longer chase someone who cannot meet you, nor do you compromise your needs for the comfort of someone else's avoidance. Heartbreak becomes a guide, showing you where to set boundaries, how to nurture yourself, and what to seek in the relationships that truly matter. It transforms pain into wisdom, loss into insight, and disappointment into empowerment. In the end, heartbreak is not just an ending. It is an awakening. It is a statement of your value, your strength, and your unwavering ability to love. For the avoidant, it may eventually become a realization of loss, but for you, it is a testament to growth, clarity, and resilience. Heartbreak does not define you, your response to it does. By embracing the lessons it brings, you transform what was once a source of sorrow into a foundation of self-awareness, confidence, and freedom. It is proof that while they may have underestimated the depth of your love, you never underestimated your own worth. And that awareness will guide you toward the relationships and life you truly deserve. In the end, what we've explored today is more than heartbreak. It's the journey of understanding, growth, and reclaiming your power. Loving someone avoidant may have left scars, but it also revealed your strength, your courage, and your irreplaceable capacity to love fully. You've learned that their fear of intimacy was never a reflection of your worth, and that healing, self-respect, and clarity are your ultimate triumphs. So stand tall, honor your journey, and carry forward the lessons your heart has earned, knowing that the love you gave was real, and the life you create from here will be even more extraordinary. Thank you for being here, for listening, and for allowing yourself to step into the power and freedom that is rightfully yours.